Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ. And today it's February Literary Lately. Woohoo!
The best time of the month. I love this episode. It's always so much fun.
I do too. And I love that we're not limited on our time compared when we would bring it up like every week. And then it's like,
Yes.
it would be like 15 minutes at least of the episode. And that was us keeping it short. So
Now we get to talk. And I get to tell you about the arc that I read,
Yay!
How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days.
Oh my God.
Which
Oh my
you
gosh.
did not seem to like last time we were talking about it as I was reading it for our January Literary Lately. But I have finished it, and it was so cute. It was so good.
It was. Of course it was. I want to go look at the cover now. Because I meant to do that and I couldn't remember the name of it.
It looks
How
like a
to
little
lose
Hobbit
a
home.
goblin in 10 days. Let's see. Oh, but it doesn't show us the goblin.
It doesn't show you what a goblin looks like. You have to use your imagination.
I want to see the goblin.
And I made it a cute goblin.
Okay. I don't know. I'm still not so sure about this, but that's okay.
But overall, it was a story about...
Is that your first?
That was my first. So it's a story about people of two different lifestyles. One's a goblin, one's a halfling.
I don't think you call that a lifestyle. Species.
What do you call it?
Different species.
Different species. Okay. So they're different species, but they come together, and it was just a beautiful blending of cultures, and you're shaking your head. But if it was humans, but they were just different cultures, this is what it would be like.
That's not different species. That's not different species. And I know what you're going to say. What about humans and vampires and shapeshifters? Okay, these are not shapeshifters. It's different if it's a goblin shapeshifter and a hobbit shapeshifter.
Nope. This worked for me.
That's
I gave
good.
it 4
That's what
stars.
matters.
It's by Jesse Silva, and I think it might have already came out. So you can go read it now. It came out January 20th. So if you are curious about goblins and halflings living together and reading a book that is reminiscent of living in the Shire, go read this book. It was fun.
Because
if
halflings
you like Lord of the Rings,
hobbits, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So a hobbit and a goblin.
They're about the same height. Yeah. It works.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, whatever. If you want that, you go for it. It's fine. We read and we don't judge, LJ. We read and we don't judge. I have to remind myself
that is just a big thing to remember, is that we read different things. Sometimes we'll read the same books, but we also read very different things. Because there are some books that you read that I'm like, I would never read that.
Exactly. And that's fine. And that's the beauty of books. There's something for everyone.
Yes, there is.
So, and as Leyna says, not every book is for everybody.
Yes. And this one is not for you, apparently.
This one is not for, I guess what if I read it and I actually really liked it? I don't know. At some point, I think we need to do an episode where we each make the other one read something. But don't worry, I won't make you read Stephen King. You've already done that. That wouldn't be fun. But we'll I think down the road, this is an episode idea. We'll see. All right. So my first one that I'm not really going to talk a lot about is My Husband's Wife, because we already talked about it. It was one that we were looking forward to. And I did really like it. It's so twisty and you just don't see anything coming. And it's one of those at the end you want to reread because you're like,
did I miss something? I need to figure this stuff out. Yes. And that's by Alice Feeney, right?
That's by Alice Feeney, My Husband's Wife, and I gave it 5 stars. So, yeah, if you haven't figured out, we like Alice Feeney here, except for Daisy Darker. I do not like Daisy Darker, and I know a lot of people did. Don't read it. I'll tell you all about it and why it's not good. Anyway, all right, your next one. See, I was short on one. That's probably going to be the only one I'm short on.
So the next one I read was also an arc. It was Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman. And Matt Dinniman is the one who did the Dungeon Crawler Carl series that I love. Mm-hmm. Operation Bounce House did not love. And I struggled through this book. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, but I think on Storygraph I gave it 2.75. I just could not get into this, struggled. That being said, on Goodreads, there's a lot of people that love it. So maybe this one was just not for me.
This was supposed to be our February... This was supposed to be our February book club, and then Lena's like, no.
I was like, please, let's not talk about this because it will not be a good episode because I don't think that you would have liked it. And I want you to read Dungeon Crawler Carl at some point. So I don't want
Yeah,
to start you off with a not so great Matt Dinniman book. But
right.
there you go.
That's true. I
I hope that
appreciate
other
that.
people like it because I want him to do well and to have other books that are successful as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna skip what my next one was because I'm on in the same vein of that with a different book.
Okay.
Woman Down by Colleen Hoover. It's her new romance suspense novel, and I'm gonna read you the blurb about it before I give my opinions. Woman Down is a 2026 thriller novel by Colleen Hoover about a best selling author, Petra Rose, who, after facing backlash for a film adaptation of her book, retreats to a cabin to overcome writer's block and finds inspiration in a mysterious detective who appears at her door, blurring the lines between her fictional characters and reality as their research becomes an intense, dangerous obsession. The book explores themes of creativity, obsession, and the separation of fiction from reality with a plot that involves a twisted mystery and romance. So I gave this one 3 stars. I love Colleen Hoover. I want success for her. I want the best for her. This one was not it for me. At the beginning, there's a big disclaimer that this is not based on her life at all. And it does mention that it was based on a short story that used to be in an anthology that no longer is in print where it had multiple authors. And so she says that. But I wish I could go back and read that short story because I just feel like this is too much like art imitating life because we do know she had an amazing book that everyone loved called It Ends With Us. I had a second
Yeah.
where I was like, I just forgot. It Ends With Us. It was made into a movie with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And by the way, I would not even know his name except for the fact that they are dealing with a major lawsuit that has really overshadowed the movie. And so I have
Yeah.
not seen the movie.
I knew
And
Justin Baldoni from, he was in Jane the Virgin, if you ever watched
okay,
that show, which
I
was a good
didn't.
show.
But all of this, none of it is making any of them look good. I don't know, like if Blake Lively was a victim of sexual harassment from him, obviously that's not okay. But there's so many rumors from both sides. There's been text messages from both sides released. I just don't know. And I feel bad for Colleen Hoover that that was the
Caught in the
result of
middle.
that. Now,
Yeah.
now, I do appreciate that some more of her movies based on her books have released recently. Like I did watch Regretting You, which was not one of my favorites of her books. There was one aspect that I loved, like one of my favorite things about that book. And so I was like, they better have it in the movie. And they did. And I think the movie was a really good representation of that book. And so that's what this book is about is her writing another novel, which I think actually it's supposed to be this one, to redeem herself. Because what went wrong with the movie and this story was that she allowed them to remove a character and people were upset about that. And I can understand that. I would be upset. There's certain characters I don't want to go away. But anyway, it was dark because it's supposed to be a thriller. There was too much romance for my taste in a thriller. And I get it's a romance suspense, but and this, it was a mess. I just did not like it. There was one character that I loved, and it was a side character. I mean, why is that always the case? But the rest, I was just kind of like it made me feel icky. A lot of it made me feel icky, and I don't like that. And I can't say more than that without giving stuff away because there are some twists, and the twists aren't bad. But
Just
but I
not a
still,
great
I
book
gave her three
overall.
stars because I gave her 3 stars because I do love Colleen Hoover, and hopefully some people liked it. And I want her to keep writing books, and I want success for her. So anyway, there we go. So that's my Operation Bounce House.
So I will talk about a romantic suspense that I read, and I think this was the first time I ever read a romantic suspense.
Yeah.
And it was written by our friend Nikki Belgrave, and
Oh,
it is
yes.
called It Would Have Been You. I gave it 5 stars. It features a
I
character
can't wait
who
to read it.
she believes she's been cursed.
Mhm.
Everything that she touches basically goes bad. She just has bad luck. And it started
Mhm.
whenever she was born, and her mother died during childbirth. So, like, literally,
Okay.
bad luck has followed her. And she lives
Yeah.
a very quiet life, kind of, keeping walls up. But then her brother and his husband tell her that they're adopting a baby, and they want her to be a more active part of their lives. So she's
Okay.
trying to embrace, she calls it Epic Drew, because she's going to
Okay.
leave the curse behind so that she can be part of their family again. Like, she hadn't talked to her brother or seen him in person in over a year because she was worried about the curse. And her brother and his husband and her boss, who she works at a bookstore, of course, they send her on a reading retreat so that she can go somewhere and have good things happen. And it's a good environment where they're going to be talking about one of her favorite author's books. She gets there. She meets a guy, of course, and he is just super sweet. He's super handsome. And then they go to the reading retreat, and then a murder happens. So the bad luck does follow Drew.
Oh,
but
goodness.
then, like, everybody becomes a suspect, including Drew, and they're trying to figure out how the person died, who killed them, all of the stuff. And you're kind of finding it out as you go along.
Yeah.
It was a fun read. It's an indie author. If you haven't heard of Nikki Belgrave, this is her first published book. She had a short story that turned into a film.
It's on Kindle Unlimited.
Ooh, yes. Go read it.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read it. This is what I do, guys. This is what you have to do if you have Kindle Unlimited. You read it on Kindle Unlimited and then you buy it afterwards to support, because then she gets the credit for the Kindle Unlimited reading, which is part of how she gets paid. And then she gets paid for the ebook. Oh my gosh, this makes me so happy. I can help her twice.
And Nikki was
because
on our
she's
podcast.
A friend of the show. Yes.
Yeah, she was one of our very first guests.
Mm-hmm.
So
and she's a top listener. She's a top listener on Spotify.
Yes,
and she's
that was
awesome.
Her Spotify Wrapped. We were on it.
And I want to say, too, that people that have been listening from the beginning, they do say, like, my cousin loved that episode. She has mentioned that episode multiple times. Shout out Leslie. So my cousin Leslie
need to have
loves you, Nikki.
back on here.
We do. Yes. She's so fun. You should go support her. Go get that book right now and then get the physical copy too. Just saying. Anyway, sorry, I got real excited and interrupted you.
It's just a fun book. I think everyone should read it. And that was, I think, my first romantic suspense. And I want to go read more of that genre now, because I was like, that's kind of just a fun, you get the suspense thriller part, but then you also get the romance. And this was, I mean, it doesn't go beyond kissing. So there's not like spicy scenes.
Okay, that's good, because Woman Down, it was like, I don't want to give anything away, but there is a scene where I am very uncomfortable. Like,
Colleen Hoover,
and I've read a lot of romance,
very spicy.
But I've read some other crazy stuff, and this to me went. I was like, I can't. It was too far. Yeah, and it wasn't even. I can't say anything. It was not like a particular act, but there was something else going on. Anyway, that's all I can say.
Okay. What's your next book?
Okay, We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. Okay. And it is the first in a new North Falls series focusing on Officer Emmy Clifton investigating the disappearance of two teenage girls in a small Georgia town, uncovering dark secrets and revisiting a cold case when a new disappearance occurs under similar circumstances. The novel explores small town secrets, the complexities of family, and the question of who is truly guilty, featuring a mix of procedural investigation and psychological depth, with a protagonist who is older and more experienced than in some of Slaughter's other works. And by older, they mean like in her 40s. So it was nice to read where she's like my age, and she's not new to the profession. She's been doing it for a while. And if you've never read Karen Slaughter is dark. And this one was dark, but I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a page turner. I could not put it down. It was interesting reading this because the girls missing are like teenage girls from the cold case. I think the new one is a little bit younger. And it was just, as a mom of a teenage girl, it made it a little bit different and a little bit harder to read because it's like a parent's worst nightmare. But it was so interesting. There's like this small town. Her family is all around there. Some people love the family, some people don't. And there were so many characters that when you find out exactly how they're intertwined, it was well done. And there are red herrings that are done well, because I think that's reality in like investigations, is that there are things that it looks like it has to be this, but it actually isn't. So it was
I don't know
a
if
good
I've
one.
read any of her books. Did she write The Lovely Bones?
No, that's also dark. She wrote, I think the one that was really famous is All the Pretty Girls. And that one was even darker than this. But it was good. But she writes very dark crime thrillers.
That book sounds familiar, but I don't know if it was just because I've seen it so much or if I actually read it. So,
gotcha.
we'll see.
Yeah. All right.
And I
Next
read
up.
one that was it was a very slow suspense. And if it
Okay.
had picked up a little bit, I would have given it 4 stars, but I gave it 3.5. It's The Last One Out by Jane Harper. And Jane Harper did The Exiles, if you've read that. She did a couple of them. She's an Australian, I think she's an Australian author. She writes about the Australian outback.
I know the name, but maybe I just know it from you.
This is, I think, the second book I've read by her, and her books start out slow. That's kind of like her
Okay.
thing, I guess. And that it was hard to get hooked into it.
I did. I read The Survivors. Let me go
Okay.
see. Keep
And she
talking.
did The Dry. The Dry was the one that I had read. But this is Australian outback. The town has been bought up by a mining company, and it is very slowly disintegrating the town because everyone is moving out because the mine is buying up the properties. There's the main character. She's a doctor, and her husband works for like the fire service. They have 2 kids. The oldest is 26, and it's his birthday, and he's investigating kind of what it's like to live in a town that's slowly going away, and how everybody, they started out as a big community and they weren't going to sell to the mine, but then the mine offered so much money that people sold out and moved. And then the son disappears and they don't know what happens to him. And so this is the 5-year anniversary of his disappearance. The parents have separated, and this is them coming back together to memorialize their son. The town comes together, and we end up finding out what happened to their son and find out some other things along the way. It is a good book. It does start out very slow. It's a very slow pace. That was the biggest downfall for me. I think that if it would have picked up the pace or maybe shortened the beginning a little bit, I would have enjoyed it much more because the end of the story was great. And I loved how it ended. The ending was satisfying, but it was just slow.
Okay,
But
so I
that
looked
was
up.
my suspense.
I did not read The Survivors. I think Emily did, and I have her copy in my house. I just have it for that she got from Book of the Month a few years ago. But yeah, but I think I didn't read it because she told me it was a slow one, and I don't like slow in my
And
thrillers.
it's really hard as a thriller suspense because you want it to go fast. And
Yeah.
this is the second one that I've read of hers. I don't know if I'll read more because it did
Yeah.
start out so slow and the one before started out slow. It gives a
Mhm.
very good representation of a small town going away. And I grew up for 10 years in a very small town, Altus, Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And I have since gone back, and that town, there's like nothing there. And that's
Really?
what it feels like. I don't know if it has the same community aspect of this town, but there's nothing there for the young people. If you want to do something with your life, that's probably not the place you're going to stay. You're going to go to a bigger
Yeah.
city. So it did have a lot of kind of like that grief, and you're grieving not only the loss of the community, but the town
Mm.
and the son and the family relationship and dynamics. And
Yeah.
so, like I said, good, but very slow. If you like slow, then go for it.
Yeah. I don't. So I think you took one for the team here.
Mhm.
All right, my next one is kind of off the rails. It's called Julie Chan is Dead by Leanne Zhang, and it's a thriller about a supermarket cashier, Julie, who assumes the life of her estranged deceased twin sister, Chloe, a
Oh.
famous social media influencer, after discovering her body. Julie navigates Chloe's glamorous but dangerous world, uncovering dark secrets about her sister's life and realizing she may be the next target, all while exploring themes of identity, social media, and self erasure. The novel is Zhang's debut and has been noted for its fast paced, pop culture infused style. So I will say, knowing that this is a debut, it was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. The thing is, it went off the rails. Like from the beginning, in all honesty, this happens near the beginning. Like she gets a phone call from her twin and it says, "I'm sorry." So then she goes to see her in New York. She's mistaken for her. The doorman, she's like, "I left my keys." He lets her in. She finds her sister's dead body. And so she calls the police, whatever. They assume that she, the one alive, is Chloe. And she's like, "This is my twin sister. This must be a drug overdose, whatever." And then she is able to have her cremated right away. So, like, here's the deal. I just feel like they would be like, "This looks suspicious. Let's do an autopsy." Like, you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like there would have been something. And so then it takes up from there. And I just don't think realistically she would be this just normal, regular person who rarely uses social media could come in and take over her life successfully with her friends. And, I didn't buy that part. And then it really goes off the rails. And the going off the rails, though, actually made it quite interesting. But there is animal death, and I
Mm.
don't like that. And Emily forgot to tell me.
Aw.
And I was not okay with it. So it's okay, but it's fine. But yeah. By the way, I didn't say this in the correspondent when we recorded, which was our last week's episode. I totally forgot to watch for that page and everything, so I read it.
Oh,
I
no.
did, and anyway. I
There
know,
is an
after
animal
all that
death in
effort.
Correspondent. And
Yeah,
we both read Correspondent this month, so I guess we can talk about that one next.
we can talk
But
about that next, yeah.
we did have a whole
Yeah, let's go
episode
ahead.
on it. We both gave it 5 stars. There is an animal
Yes.
death. I know I texted you the page number. I was like, here's what
And I did
what
it.
letter
I was
it is,
reading it
just in case you're
digitally.
reading on digitally. I
I
tried.
know.
It wasn't a graphic animal death, so it's not like
No.
but it was almost
Yeah.
comical. Not that it
I
was
know, and
comical,
stuff
but
like no, but I
yeah.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Something else that I forgot to say about it, because it technically isn't in chapters, the whole time, like, it was saying this many minutes left in chapter, and I'm like, that's the same as that many minutes left in, the book, because honestly. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you don't know, you gotta go listen to it. Or you gotta go read it or whatever by Virginia
Mhm.
Evans, and we talk all about it on episode 61 of this podcast, which was last week.
Yes,
Anything
and
else
it
you
was
wanna
a
say
very
on
good
that?
book.
We have a whole episode on it.
Have a whole episode on it. We are doing a reading guide that will be on our Etsy shop and on our Patreon. So if you don't follow us on Etsy or
Yes.
Patreon, More Than a Book Club, that's where you can find us. And we have some fun stuff on
Yes.
there. So go look for that.
We do. Just saying.
One book
Yeah.
that I
All right, what's your
absolutely
next one?
loved. It comes out March 10th. Again, this was
Mhm.
an arc. I have gone crazy on NetGalley and gotten so many arcs. But this story
And I
might
keep
save your
getting
life.
rejected.
Oh, bummer. I hate that. I've gotten
I
rejected a
know,
few
I want
times.
this one. No, it's just so funny, and then there's one that I got and you got rejected for, but I think it's
Yes.
because I messaged her, and so I think she gave my name to the publisher.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
gotta be why.
Yeah. So
Anyway, go ahead.
this book was The Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. I gave it 5 stars. It comes out March 10th. It has some thriller aspects. It has I won't say it's a romance, but it is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to describe it. But it was just so good. And it's 2 people who they do a podcast together. They've been best friends forever. And they start a podcast. The girl, who is a wife, she's married, she goes missing and her husband's body is found. And they're all wrapped up in this podcast. Like the husband is
Yeah.
the podcast producer, she is on the podcast, and then her best friend is on the podcast as well. So it throws all into this light of suspicion of who killed the husband, where did the wife go, was she responsible for it, what's happening.
Request denied.
Oh, bummer. It was a really good book. I would
I know.
encourage
I'll
everyone
get
to
it
go
when
get
it comes out.
Yeah. March 10th was when it comes out. This is an author that I have commented on her Instagram, and she's already working, I believe she said she's working on her next book. Maybe that was a different author that I was
Okay.
following. But it was so good, and I think that everybody should go read this. The audio narration was phenomenal. So if you are a sometimes audiobook listener, this is one that was really good on audio. So I would highly recommend the audio version of this. But can't say enough good things about it. It was just a really fun story. And the podcast hosts have great banter back and forth. They've been friends forever. So it was really fun. Go read it.
Okay, cool. I will get it eventually. I'm just mad that I got denied. Should I request the audiobook? Although we know I do better with being able to read something.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll get it eventually. So,
Eventually.
all right. My next one is Heated Rivalry, which I had started it and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue reading the book or not, but I did decide to because it really, okay, this is going to sound wrong. It followed the show, but really that means the show followed the book very well. And if you have been living under a rock, Heated Rivalry is a popular enemies to lovers hockey romance novel by Rachel Reed, featuring a secret relationship between rival pro hockey captains Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov, known for its steamy scenes, strong chemistry, and exploration of forbidden romance that blurs the line between hate and love. It's the second book in the Game Changer series and has been adapted into a successful TV series. I would say, in my opinion, watch the show first because then
Okay.
you can picture the characters and hear their voices. Now, Leyna tried to do the audiobook, and funny enough,
Oh,
I
it was
saw a
awful.
post. I saw a post today where someone was playing it and they're like, "What is this accent they've given Kip?" And I know you said that too.
They
There's no
gave Kip a Brooklyn accent, but I don't think the audiobook narrator had ever heard a Brooklyn accent and was just basing it I don't know what was happening, but I was like, I can't listen to this. It was so bad.
they should re-record it with the actors.
Yes.
I would buy
That would
that.
be way
They could
better.
do that would be way better.
And
So,
I
what
guess
is
that same
interesting
narrator does the first 3 books. So I had
I
downloaded all of them, and
oh
then I was
god.
like, I cannot do this if that is who is going to be narrating.
No. So, what's different about the book, there is a little bit more we get some more into the future in the epilogue, but I'm guessing that's gonna be in the series at some point, so I won't spoil it. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't have plans right now to read any of the other ones. I just don't feel the need to. I love these specific characters and I love
Mhm.
these actors both in the show, on social media. They are just adorable. So, watch and
They
read.
are.
And
They
then
are.
go listen to our Patreon episode all about it.
Yeah, that was our first bonus episode that we ever did because every month
It
we'll do a
was.
bonus episode that our
Mhm.
$3 and $5 a month Patreon members get included in their membership. You
We
can
do.
also purchase it as a separate thing, but you might as well just join for the month and get all
Yeah,
the
you
fun
get other
stuff.
stuff too if you join. Like you get other stuff
Yes.
as part of your membership.
So
All right.
I did DNF the Heated Rivalry. I think the first book is called Game Changer, right? So I DNF'd that.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds
I
familiar. That sounds right.
also DNF'd the book Catabasis.
I have no idea how to
Catabasis?
say it.
I don't either. And I was listening to the audio and it sounded so good. It's a 19-hour audiobook and I was 3
Wow.
hours in and I was like, I am just not loving this and I don't know if I can listen to 16 more hours of this
No.
book. So that was a DNF for me. So I had 2 DNFs this month and that is something I'm trying to do more of is if a book isn't for me, and I should have done this with Operation Bounce House. If I wasn't doing an ARC read for that, I would have probably not
Yeah.
finished it. But I'm trying to let myself, if a book isn't for me, to put it down and not finish it. So
Mm.
that was my DNF. A fun book that I read though, that I loved and also gave 5 stars to was First Time Caller by BK Borison. And I have decided that
Oh, I
BK
need to read
Borison
that.
is one of my favorite romance authors now. And that's after reading Good Spirits and also reading this book, First Time Callers. The second book in this series comes out, I believe, at the end of February. So that is something to look forward to. But this is kind of similar to Sleepless in Seattle. There's a radio host for a call-in love show, and a little girl calls in saying, my mom is utterly failing at a love life. How do I get her a date? And so it evolves where the mom ends up on the phone with the host and they talk and the community falls in love with this story and they want to all help her find a romantic partner. It was just a really sweet story and I very much enjoyed it. I loved the relationship the mom had with the daughter, the mom had with the
Mhm.
radio host DJ, I don't know what you call him, but then also with
Yeah.
her ex who they had known each other since they were little kids, like 3 years old, had grown up.
Mhm.
I think they said that they had sex one time and they had a baby as teenagers. Then it turned out he was
Oh,
gay.
wow.
So he's married. They still live like close to each other so they can walk out one house and go out the back gate and go to the other house. So they do that for their daughter. They stay close to
Aw.
each other. They're
I
still
love
best
that.
friends. It's like such a good relationship and it's yeah, they just happened to have a baby together. It was just a really sweet story and I loved all the relationships in it and I'm going to read the next in the series because it follows one of the characters in it, Jackson, and his quest for love. So Definitely
So
a big BK Borson fan.
I have the 2 that you've talked about, and I haven't read them. And
Ooh,
it
you need
says
to.
something, like, that our friend Emily, who isn't a big romance
Mm.
reader, also loves this author. So I really need to jump on that. But my next one is Simone St. James' most recent release, A Box Full of Darkness, which is a supernatural thriller about 3 siblings haunted by the disappearance of their younger brother Ben, 18 years prior, during a game of hide and seek. They are called back to their childhood home in Fell, New York, by a ghostly presence, forcing them to confront their past trauma and the unsettling secrets of the town, which is also the setting for St. James's The Sundown Motel. The story follows Violet, Vale, and Dodie as they deal with their own lingering psychic scars and the terrifying return of Ben's spirit, who wants to lead them to the truth. It also references the events of the Broken Girls. So if you've read that too, that will jump out as well. And this does take place in mostly in 1989. That's the current time, or 1988. But it it was really good, except there's a major plot hole that is left open that I'm still mad about, and I can't tell you because it will absolutely ruin the book. But it was very interesting because, like the description said, all 3 siblings are haunted by their brother, or like the memory of him in some capacity, but they are all haunted differently. And that was it makes you think at times that there's more going on. And I'm not gonna say anything, but I had said to Lena, "I think it also has this," and Lena's like, "Well, I don't want that." But I can't tell you guys because I don't wanna spoil it, because it was a good book. I gave it 4 stars, and that's with a major plot hole. I'm still mad. I wanna, maybe I will message her and be like, "Answer this question for me," because it's not answered by your
Answered.
book.
Simone St. James, this is on my TBR, and it's
Okay.
has such a good premise, and I love her books
It
because
does.
she doesn't shy away. Like, you'll read some books and it's like, oh, it's a ghost, and then it's not a ghost. Her books, like,
Yeah,
no, it's a
it
ghost.
is.
There's a ghost,
Yeah.
and like
Well,
everything.
so
I love it.
I was trying to explain this book, that this has this major plot hole, without saying much, to
Mhm.
someone who is a non-reader, and they were like, "Well, maybe it's setting up for a sequel." I'm like, "No, it's not. Like, it's not. Like, it's not." You know? I just
Yeah.
need like, it's all resolved, except I need to know the answer to one question that
Well,
she
now I
left
want to read
open,
it to see
and I'm
if
pissed
I can
about it.
figure out the plot hole, because sometimes those plot holes are staring me right in the face and I don't see them at all, and I'm just happily
They are
turning the pages.
No, there is no, no, you won't, I promise. But anyway, you can try,
Okay.
and you'll be mad with me, it's fine. All right.
Something to look forward to. So I read one for a book club at Neighbor Books, our local bookshop, that I did not go to. But I'm convinced that someday I'm going to go to this book club. This was their
Yeah.
fantasy pick, which was A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Rosanna Brown. I hadn't heard of this, and it's a fantasy book, but also based on African myths. I gave it 4 stars.
Okay.
It features there's a little bit of magic going on. There's a character who is trying to save his sister that has been
Mhm.
captured by kind of like this demon thing. And he has been told to get his sister back, he has to kill the princess. And the princess
Yes.
has been told that if she wants to fulfill this prophecy, and where she's kind of stuck in this castle area, if she ever wants to leave, she has to kill the king. And so she makes this like game that is for like the solstice or whatever. And whoever wins the game gets to marry her. And so the guy joins the game, hoping to get close enough to her to kill her. And she's hoping that whoever she marries, whoever wins, she'll get to kill. So it's kind of like this back and forth. They're trying to kill each other kind of thing. It was a good book. I enjoyed it. I don't remember the end. So
That's awesome.
I want to go back and reread it now, because I'm like, what did happen? I think this was the book I
Right.
was reading right before I had my seizure. So I don't know if it like erased from
Was
my
lost in
brain
that.
or what happened, but I'm like, what did happen at the end of that book? So I'm very curious. So if you ever read it, we can find out together.
Right. That's so funny. I mean, it sounds like a good book. It sounds like something I would really like, so maybe I will, and then I'll let you know
Yeah.
how the ending
It
is.
I remember liking it. I gave it 4 stars. I was like, "Yeah, that's a good
That's
book." It was
good.
something different that I hadn't really read before. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was fun.
All right, well, this next one is my last one because I read 8
Okay.
books since our last episode on Literary Lately, and this is Marie Antoinette, The Journey, which I gave 5 stars. And so I'll give you the description and then talk about it. Marie Antoinette, The Journey is a 2001 sympathetic biography by Antonia Fraser that portrays Marie Antoinette as a tragic figure, a young Austrian archduchess thrust into the French court who became a scapegoat for the monarchy's downfall, despite her minor faults, and was wrongly accused of saying, "Let them eat cake." The book covers her arranged marriage at 14, her life as queen, the accusations against her, her imprisonment, trial, and execution, and served as the basis for Sofia Coppola's 2006 film, Marie Antoinette, which I actually own the physical copy of this, but I listened to the audiobook because number one, the font is too small in the book now, which I've had the book. I got the book probably in 2006. And well, it had to have been because it has the movie cover. But I got it not just because of the movie, but because I had read another of Antonia Fraser's books, The Six Wives of Henry VIII, which was fascinating. Now, I will say, if you're not a big fan of Henry VIII, I wouldn't recommend, or of his wives, like if you don't care, it's not,
Mhm.
I don't know that you would like it because it is written like a history book kind of. But this is definitely a sympathetic biography. I think that description is perfect for it. It is very interesting. I've kind of always been fascinated by Marie Antoinette, and especially in recent years, just the fact that we're starting to acknowledge more and more that a lot of the portrayals of women in history, like where they're
Mhm.
the quote unquote bad guys, aren't actually accurate. Like the seduction supposedly of Henry VIII by all these wives and one of them being 14 years old and all that and, that stuff. But this, it was really good. I will say the last 3 hours is when it starts because I did the audiobook. The last 3 hours is when it gets to be like, "Oh, here comes all the sad stuff." And that was on 2-point speed. So maybe the last 6 hours if you listen to it at a normal speed. But it was good. I really liked it. It was a good refresher on her life. But honestly, if you don't like to read straight history, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but I enjoy that stuff. And so I'm planning to re listen to the Henry VIII one.
Was it more narrative form or was it
Yes.
just okay, so it does have some
Yeah, it was narrative.
good narration. Okay.
It's not, it's just, it's written like you're like a history book, like it's telling you the events
Okay.
of her life. So, yeah.
All
And
right.
that was my last one. What about you?
I have 2 more that I read this month. I read 10.
Okay.
Both of them are parts of
Hmm.
series. The first one is The First Sign of
Okay.
Danger by Kelly Armstrong. That one came out February 17th. I gave it 4 stars, and that is the Rockton? No. There's 2 series that feature the same characters. Um, and they're both by Kelly Armstrong. I think Rockton is the first series that I have not read, and New Haven is the second series. And this was the 4th book in that
Okay.
series. This is the one that I got the arc for and did not realize it was book
Hmm.
4 in a series, and then read all the other books. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I think that the series gets better as you go along, and maybe that's just because I didn't
Okay.
read the first 7 books in the other series, because I feel like if I would have read those, then things would have made sense a lot more. But it was a fun read. I do like Kelly Armstrong. She has written so many books in so many different genres that I want to go read more of hers. I think I like her. She has like kind of like a historical fiction paranormal
Hmm.
genre that she writes in,
Ooh.
and I think I like that genre the best for her. But this one, it's
Okay.
based in the Yukon, and it has lots of mystery, and I think there's one more book in the series, and then that series is tidied up for her. The last book that I read was The Game is Afoot by Elise Bryant, and
Hmm.
this was who we saw when we went to Austin Book Festival. We were like,
Hmm.
oh, I want to read this books. This was the second in the series featuring her character Mavis, which I just love her name. I love Mavis. But
Well, you know what that makes me think of? Mavis Beacon, which was the typing program to learn to type.
oh my
Just,
gosh, yes, I did that typing program. I think we all did. I think that was like a
I think
kid in the 90s
very
thing.
90s. Yeah, it was. It came like on the computers if you got a
Yes, it
computer.
did. But it was a fun mystery read. It sets up for more books in this series. I will definitely read the rest of the series. It's murder mystery. She lives with her dad, and her dad lives in a neighborhood that is going through gentrification. So there's a lot of really wealthy people in this neighborhood, and then people that have lived there since the 80s. And she is one of the people, like her dad bought the house in the 80s and has lived there
Mm-hmm.
throughout. And so now she's moved back in with her dad and her daughter. And all of these murders happen around her daughter, like not to her daughter, but it's
Mm-hmm.
her daughter's soccer coach that dies in this book. And they're trying to figure out who killed the soccer coach. Mavis's ex-husband is a suspect. So she's trying to figure out who did it so that she can
Mm-hmm.
exonerate her ex-husband. So that's kind of
Okay.
the story there. But it was really fun. I really like the characters in the book, and they're just funny, down to earth. And Mavis is a mom, and the first book was
Mm-hmm.
all about like PTA moms, which
Yeah.
I
I
felt
remember you
very
talking
deeply
about that.
because being a PTA mom for years, it was like, oh, I can see this. But this
Mm-hmm.
one, it's youth sports, and how our friend Emily was talking about her son's basketball game and how some people get really
Yes.
into it and could have comments and things like that. And that's one of the things that happens in this book is they think that their 7-year-old, 8-year-old is like a gift from God, that it's going to be some
Mm.
sort of soccer prodigy. And yeah, and he's not. But there's a lot of that going on, and you get to see kind of like a humorous poke fun at those two groups, like the
Yeah.
soccer enthusiast parents or just kids youth
Mm-hmm.
sports, and then also the PTA. So, but yeah, that was my books
Yeah.
for the month of February.
Okay, well, let's go on to what we're currently reading. So, funny story. I mean, I technically am still in Stephen King's on writing, but I just listened to small chunks. And so I actually this morning was like, I am not in the middle of reading anything. So I started making a list of top contenders. And then I have an update to that. So, Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston, who wrote First Light Wins. That's a contender. Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Okay, you're going to die when I say this one. Lonesome Dove, because it's mentioned in the correspondence.
Yay!
She
It's such
mentions
a
how
good
she's read it
book.
3 times. And then
Yes.
she
Larry
writes him a
McMurdy
letter.
knew what he was doing, or Larry McCurdy, or whatever
So,
his name is. Yes, it is a
So yeah,
very good.
Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden, Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, because I discovered it also has the audiobook on Kindle Unlimited, so I can
Hmm.
do both, which I do like to do that. And so actually then when I was putting on my makeup, I put on Winter Garden and started that, and only listening to like a few minutes, I'm like, oh, I'm so intrigued by this. Which, have you read that one of hers? Because I know you've
I
read a bunch of
haven't.
hers
I
too.
haven't.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, so I guess I'm currently reading that. But now that I know that Nikki's book is on Kindle Unlimited, but it's a different genre. It's a different genre, so I can read them at
Yeah.
the same time. But anyway,
You
what are
can listen to
you
one
reading right
and
now?
read another. So
Exactly.
I'm currently in the middle of 3 books, and I'm reading The Astral Library by Kate Quinn. It's
Oh,
an
yes, you
arc, but
mentioned.
it comes out February 17th. So by the time this airs, it will have already been out. I'm also going to go see her at the Dallas Museum of Art on February 18th. So I'm trying to get the
So
book
jealous.
done by Wednesday so that I can have all the info for whenever I go see her. So that's
Yeah.
my goal. I am reading The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second in the Mistborn series. I was
Mhm.
supposed to be reading that with my husband, but he has already finished it. The non-reader has finished this
The
500-page
non-reader has
book,
finished.
and I'm like 150 pages in. And then last
I
night,
love it.
right before bed, I started Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. But
Yes!
I am only like 10 minutes in because I put on my sleep timer for 15 minutes and I fell asleep before the sleep timer went off. So those are the
Okay,
ones that
yeah.
I'm reading right now and hoping to make it through quickly.
Okay, so talking about other literary related stuff,
Hmm.
something I saw, L. Kennedy's The Deal TV show is coming out. Like, I think it's a show. They're doing mini series on the books. And so the
Okay.
first season is all about The Deal, which is back here. It's one of these right there next to the B. It might be the one right next to the B. Let me see. Yep. It's the one right there. And which she's come out with cartoon covers, which, I mean, these covers aren't cartoonish at all. So that's good for, making it look I don't know, more acceptable to read in public. But anyway, that's coming out, so I'm so excited for that. And then I've written a little. I mean, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 words in the last month, maybe a little bit more. I think that's all though. I haven't written as much as I had the previous time, but that also I had winter break when we did the last one, so I had a lot more time. What about you? What
And
literary activities are going on? We know you're about to go see Kristen Hanna, but
Kate Quinn.
or Kate.
I wish
Sorry,
it was
wrong
Kristen
one.
Hanna. That would be really cool to go see her.
Kate
But
Quinn. Hey, it
Kate
starts with
Quinn.
a K. I got
Yes,
close
you
enough.
had it
Anyway,
halfway right. I
go
have
ahead.
still been writing, but I would say maybe 3,000 words in the last month.
Okay. That's really
I've
good
been
though.
having headaches in the late
Mhm.
afternoon, and so by the time I get home from work, I'm just not in a
Yeah,
reading mood or a writing mood and don't want to look at a screen, so that's been kind of a
that's
problem.
fair.
I did go
Mhm.
to Bibliobar in Plano with my friend Robin. She had
Oh,
a gift
yeah.
card that she had won, and so we went down there and I picked up a book that I'm very excited about. It's Murder at the World's End, and this is by
Ooh.
Ross Montgomery. I feel like he did another book that I really liked, but our friend Emily had talked about this one, I believe, and said it was good, so that's what I got.
Yeah.
And then my book club for Neighbor Books is reading What We Can Know by Ian McEwan, and this is the author of Atonement. So I'm excited to read that one because I haven't read
Mhm.
Atonement. I watched the movie, but that's kind of what is coming down the path for me. So that's about it. I
That's
haven't
cool.
been doing a ton literary, but maybe next month will
It's
bring
winter.
more. It's winter.
I mean, we had a whole week. I mean, I had ice on my backyard for over a week because it just
Yes.
would not finish melting because my house, the back of the house faces north. So we were kind of trapped inside for a while because we
Yes.
shut down during the ice storms.
Yes. Dallas is not prepared. And we're
Nope.
getting, well, I guess by the time that this airs, I will have been to Spokane and we're going to go visit some friends that live there. That's where we used to live. And they
Yep.
are supposed to get a snowstorm while we're there. And I'm very excited about it to see real snow because
Right?
Dallas does not get lots of snow. We get a lot of ice, but we also
Yeah.
can't handle it. So I'm excited to
No.
go somewhere where I can. I'm like, what am I going to wear? It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
I don't have
I
any cold
know.
clothes anymore. So
Yeah.
that's going to be exciting.
You'll have to figure that out.
I will. And I'm hoping to go to, there's a bookstore there called Auntie's Bookstore. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been to Spokane in 15 years. So I'm hoping it's still there, but they
Yeah.
have a used bookstore in addition to new books. So that would be kind of fun to go
Nice.
see what used books they have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about
Very
it.
cool.
Well, I hope
All
that
right.
you guys will join us for our next Literary Lately event that we're going to do in March. We usually do these
Yep.
at the end of the month so that we can rack up those reading books and have
Yep.
some good stuff to talk about. But don't forget, we have our Patreon and we also have our Etsy shop. So if you're looking for some extras, you can find those
Mm-hmm.
there. We also have
We're
Instagram. You can
also
follow
on.
us there. Yep. And TikTok.
Yep.
We have the TikTok.
And TikTok, sometimes I post there. Not always. And YouTube.
And YouTube. We're also on YouTube. So
So
we're a little bit, we're here, we're there,
we're everywhere.
everywhere. We're the Roy Kents of the literary world.
There
All
we
right.
go. All
Well,
right.
until next time, friends, we'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.